How you doing? All right, this is just doing this because I know some of you have been Jones and I haven't been posting enough videos, not like I typically do, where, I can easily be posting a video every day, sometimes multiple, just because all the things that are going off in my head. But a little wore out, to be honest with you. No shortage of things that pop into my mind, believe me. But I was thinking about it because some of the videos I posted recently, they're new ideas. So this is kind of a message to both. Those of you who've been here for a while who have seen this progression. And then the newbies who are here because of the newer videos. It's interesting. I want to get into mental health too, which I think some of us need to be thinking about. Particularly some of you who leave some of these comments. Because there's something wrong with some of you. There's like an intellectual laziness, or just straight up laziness with some people who will. It's like articles on the internet, right? Somebody reads a headline, they don't read the article. They base an opinion off the headline. And headlines are written to get your attention. And these days, especially if it's something that's current, like with the wokeism or the politics or Israel, Palestine, or whatever, certain phraseology is put together on purpose to throw you off base emotionally. Those of us who are YouTube creators, we have to come up with a gimmick in a way to get people to want to watch the video. And it's a combination of a title and a thumbnail. And I'm not a wizard with that, as you guys know. So I've got to come up with sometimes some sort of title to maybe get people to watch. Now, I want to get into that. My last Sunday night chat video was that on the OJ thing. Now, this is kind of crazy, right? Because I did the video. 3 days later, OJ died. So now more people are seeing that video because they're searching it. And a lot of people have very strong opinions on it. I just want to say, if you haven't seen the video, if the title's turned you off or whatever, watch the video. Because I'm not saying that OJ is innocent of anything. I'm just saying here's a story that it's my story, right? Because I knew Ron Goldman and I met Kato Kalin. And then I have this friend who had this story about this guy, Glenn. I think it was Glenn Edward Rogers, I think is his name. And I misspoke in that video because he's actually still alive. He's on death row in Florida. I don't remember everything about the case. I did watch it at the time. But if you look in the comments, there's been some interesting stuff there. It's funny. There's two of the commenters happen to be black people that I care. They're more in support of OJ being innocent. So they're kind of hanging on this story now. And I had to point out, like, I'm not saying OJ's innocent. I'm just saying. But there are, somebody mentioned something that, because OJ didn't have any marks on him. And somebody had said something about that cut that was on his finger he had signed autographs after the murders where nobody knows that he cut. Then when he got to Vegas, he had the cut. So that's a separate issue. There were multiple sets of footprints in that blood and whatnot. And apparently there was defensive marks on Ron's hands and whatnot, and also they say that there was blood under Nicole's fingernails that wasn't OJ's. So there's definitely some interesting, because he wasn't marked. So you got to figure where's that coming from. So I'm just throwing that out there. Again, I'm not trying to say he's innocent because I kind of think he probably did it. I had other ideas at the time too, but this Glenn Rogers story is interesting. And so what I was unaware of when I made the video was that there was a whole document. I kind of briefly looked at some stuff when I first heard the story months earlier. And then after I made the video, I actually said, let me look at some of this more. And that's when I watched that documentary from 2012. And a lot of stuff had come out in 2012. So, and in that, the whole gold angel thing that apparently Glenn had given his mother had come from Nicole. And that goes to my guy's story about the gold chain with the angel on it. Although that was a pin. So I don't know. But I'm saying that all I did was tell a story. I'm not supporting him in any way or anything like that. But I definitely got a couple people that it was clear that they made comments based on the title without viewing the video. And one girl in particular, stay with me here. I'm just pouring myself some water. It's looks like some reverse osmosis filter thing I got here. Keeps the minerals in the water, you know. So we're supposed to be drinking mineral water. The human body is an electrical thing. We create electricity and we need minerals. When you're drinking bottled water that's just sterile, that's actually not healthy. As I was saying, this one woman in particular, I mentioned to her, did you watch the video? And she said, no, I didn't, so I will. And then when she did, she came back and she liked it. So that's all that is. I'm just a storyteller. That's all. I got another comment from a guy. It was kind of funny. He's like, hey, I'm here because I really liked your Bowie knife video. But your kiss and tell video and your MAGA worldview is not for me. You know, basically he's out. Okay, listen. Fine. That's fine. I don't know that I have. I mean, it's funny. People say the MAGA worldview or the, you know, you want America to be good? You want it to be doing well? You want less new wars and a better economy and more affordable everything? Well, it sure would be nice if eggs were affordable again. Sure would be nice if fuel was affordable again. Sorry. You know, sorry I don't want more war and expensive gas, you know. So, at any rate, you know, that's fine. And so this is kind of a lesson, or not a lesson, but kind of like a word to those of you that are new here. I'm all over the place with this. You know why? Because I'm a human being. I'm not a one-trick pony. I'm just sharing my life and what I'm thinking about, what I'm interested in, and telling stories about what I have lived through, what I've experienced, because I find that it helps people. It helps people because as I'm discussing it, I have thoughts. They're off the cuff. And I discover a lesson in many of the things I'm saying that I want to pass on to you. And I think a big part of this, the healthy part of this is the mental health part of it, is a lot of you are alone. Or you don't have anybody like a real confidant, you know, somebody you can speak to and talk to about your concerns or the weird stuff going on in your mind. And that's what leads to some people going crazy and blowing a gasket, hurting themselves or other people around them. Yesterday, I watched a video on this guy, Michael Franchese. Michael Franchese. He was a mobster back at the time when even I was dealing with those people in Jersey. Some of you, if you've been here long enough, you've heard some of my videos, why I came out here and all that. Get away from what was going on there. So he was a real, you know, he was a made dude. He spent a few years in the joint and did some crazy stuff, and now he's a Christian, and he tells all these stories. He has a lot of interesting people on, and it's cool. I can you know, I don't like so much of the mob stuff because I grew up around it. I don't need to hear any more of it. Every once in a while, though, I will watch something. And he was on the other day, and he had on. Yesterday, I watched the video. It was, what's his name? The Son of Sam. David Berkowitz. Remember that? Great movie. It's a Spike Lee film. I'm not crazy about all Spike Lee's movies. I hate his, like, most famous movie, Do the Right Thing. What was the fucking message with that movie? If you don't like it, if you're upset, you can just burn out a guy's business. That's it. You don't like him? Man. Burn his business out. There's a great fucking message. That's why we are where we are today. But let's get back to this one. He did a great film, Summer of Sam. I might watch it today. It was such a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen that, I recommend it because it's shot really well. The soundtrack is awesome, and it's about a real-time event, something that happened in the summer of '77. I was a kid. You know, I was almost 10 years old in '77. I became 10 in December. So that summer I would have been 9 years old. And I remember the news and what was going on there. And we lived up in North Jersey. That was a crazy time, man. That was a crazy time. And that movie is really interesting. And the character development in there and the characters themselves and the storyline. all the little subplots in there, and it's just I love that movie. So when I saw that Frances was doing this video with David Berkowitz, I thought, oh my god! First of all, I didn't realize the guy was even still alive, and I watched it. Now the thrust of it is that there's a guy that this guy Mike is friends with, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name. I think his name might be Mike too, though. And he's a minister. He's a prison minister, but he's also, I think he's a psychologist, because he speaks about things from that point of view. And he had done multiple visits with Berkowitz to kind of get to the root of things. And you hear this story from him, just of who he was as a human being, what he came from, what he was told as a young child, that he was adopted when he was told that when he was 5. He has all the internal turmoil, and there's no excuse why he murdered those people. No excuse. There's no excuse. It's like the OJ video. Not condoning any of this. All right, some of you don't. Your brains aren't working right. Like, if I say this, it doesn't mean I'm supporting that. If I say this, it doesn't mean I'm saying that. Slow it down. Process it, man. It's a little aggravating sometimes. So, what it boiled down to in the end was, I recommend you watching it if you're curious about it. But he got to a point in life. He'd been in and out of the army and everything. He had a job. He was working for the postal office service, and but he was a kid. He played baseball. He had friends, all of it. But here he was in his early 20s, and he was alone. And there's a lot of stats out there on this, like people alone, men alone, at that age, and what's going on in their minds. And it, and he blew a freaking gasket. He also has this thing that I have. There's a word for it, and they mentioned in the video. It's sound. Right now I'm getting it from the motor on this fridge, which I think is on its way out. Certain sounds, noises, are highly annoying, and they instantly flip a switch in my brain of, ugh. And you see me when I'm driving sometimes. I can blow a gasket pretty quick, but you release it, it's gone, and you move on with your day. When you internalize this stuff, it can fester and build and eventually explode and hurt people, including yourself. So, and I remember thinking about it here. I'm lucky I'm a strong-willed person, and I'm a pretty smart guy, and I could self-analyze. But I went through a scary phase in my early 20s where I literally had, it was almost like schizophrenia or something, where I could hear this voice in my head and like this maniacal laughter in my mind, almost like it was something that wanted to possess me. And people who are religious will talk about it. They'll just say, that's the devil, man. And if you find Jesus or God, that's. I subscribe to that. I just don't put it into a thing about it being religious. I believe in God and Jesus and all that stuff, but I'm not a huge fan of religion. It's another discussion. I have my reasons for it. But it's a real thing, right? And changing your mindset and choosing to see the world in a positive light and try to help one another out is what helps you to become a better person. Plus, if you're a more affable fellow and you're nice to people and you smile, well, then people like you and they want to talk to you, and then you find out that you're not so alone. So, but I'm just saying, I remember at those ages in my 20s of having bad thoughts and having these weird things going on in my mind, and I realize now that there's a lot of people that they go through that, and some fall victim to doing horrible things because of it. So be aware of it. If you happen to be one of those people, you have these bad thoughts, you got to get that out of your head, man. If this is the only life you got to think along the terms of, why not choose to be happy and be a better person? Try helping people out. Ben Franklin, I say it all the time, do well by doing good. Just the selfless act of being kind to somebody else, a perfect stranger, uplifts your spirit. It makes you feel better. So you're doing it for them, you're doing it for yourself at the same time. It's a win-win. With that, keep in mind, when you're typing negative comments or something, that's not healthy. It's not a great thing for you. And I'm not mentioning this, by the way, because I'm a wuss about it. I'm like, oh, somebody hurt my feelings. That's not at all what's going on. It gets in my head sometimes where I'm like, if this person just didn't get it, and I want to take the time to explain it sometimes. I just can't do it with all of them. What am I supposed to do? It's not my job to wake up the entire world, but I'm trying to a certain extent, just by saying, hey, here's this, here's my story, here's what I think about that, here's what I experienced, here's something somebody else told me, here's this, here's that, and that's it. And what I'm really finding is people, I'm not the only person, right? You're watching a lot of other people. People like to hear people talk. It makes them feel like they're sitting in a room with somebody having a conversation with them. So if I'm helping by doing that, that makes me feel good. And I know I am because I get enough comments that say that. It's funny because on that OJ video in particular, there was a lot of negative type stuff there. People just not accepting any other idea or whatever. And that's fine. I'm not judging you for that. But you got to try to make sure I know what you think is a little odd. It's also funny to me when I get criticism on any video from people and I go to there. I always look at your page, man, because you kind of have to have a YouTube account. And if you're not producing content yourself, I'm kind of like, okay, well, let's see you do it. What's your opinion on that? Put yourself out there, because it does take some balls and some thick skin to put yourself out there publicly. Not looking for any sympathy or anything from anybody, but I know that there are people who won't do it because they're afraid of ridicule. And I know there's people that started it and tried to do things and got ridicule, and so they don't produce it anymore. I know successful YouTubers who stay in one lane on purpose. They won't speak about certain things on purpose because they don't want ridicule. I don't really give a crap. You can ridicule me all you want. All I'm saying is when you're kind of negative like that in comments, you may be directing it at me, but anybody else who's reading those comments see you for who you really are. You're just revealing yourself as kind of like you're kind of low level intellectually there. You know what I mean? Suck it in a little bit. Think about things. It's okay. I also find some of it's me. Every once in a while I'll read a comment and I think it seems snarky, short. Maybe in my mind I'm thinking it's possibly kind of has a negative tone to it. And I answer to straighten it out. And then the response afterwards is a thank you and everything's cool. So you have to be careful in this world that we live in today, where people aren't looking in each other's eyes and having a one-on-one conversation, or a few people just speaking to one another. When you're typing something out, there's so much lost in that, because you don't get the inflection in the voice, you don't understand the sarcasm or the humor that's intended sometimes, and some of the things somebody's trying to say. That's a thing, and sometimes you're being short on purpose because it's easier if you're texting on your phone or whatever. I fully understand all that. I'm just saying it's a thing that we all have to be aware of, because if you're trying to communicate with me that way, like through the comments, you have to understand that how you type things out is a thing. There's you can somewhat extrapolate some nuance from the way somebody phrases something as they're typing it. Another thing, and this is something that I haven't really been too concerned about, but an odd thing happened the other day. I think it was Instagram. A guy that I don't follow, I guess he follows me, sent me a picture of my van parked out here on the street in front of where I live. Right where I parked it 20 minutes earlier. That's a little odd, right? I don't think he necessarily meant anything by it, but there is a thing, and other YouTubers have talked to me about this, and people mention it, because every once in a while my address slips or whatever. I'm not too concerned with it. I can defend myself. If somebody wants to come at me, if you expect to survive that, you better come at me hard and surprise the fuck out of me. Because you give me one chance, it's not going to work out for you very well. I'm just saying. But I've been having these I had a dream last night. It's like a nightmare, and I've had it a few times about the van. Last night's dream was I was I go out to the van, and it was a weird angle. It was like the fender was gone or something, and the van was very light, and the front wheel was gone. I looked, there was no front clip, no engine, no transmission. And I ran around this property, seeing if I can catch whoever was there doing it. When I came back, the entire van was gone. So in that period of time, the whole van was gone. And I have that concern from time to time. I have to say, I do have USAA insurance. Typically, when my last van was stolen and then totaled, when I did get it back, you just get Blue Book for it. With the way USAA works, I called them not long ago about it, and they said, "Well, no. There's Blue Book, but also if you've done all the work you say you've done, and you can prove it, because I got all the videos on YouTube, they'll compensate you for all those improvements too. So if something happened to the van, I will get a decent amount of coin out of that to replace it or upgrade or whatever." So, but I've had this concern before, like, and it's come to me in dreams where the van gets stolen, because I've had it happen to me already. So that definitely bothers me a little bit. But it's a little weird. People, I get this thing, a lot of people want to meet you and hang out, and so far it's been pretty good. I had that meet and greet out in Tacoma with Wonder Hussy, and that was nice. And some of these people are kind of like friends now. And one of the women there, she's married and has a daughter that I met there, and her husband does drone footage. Her name's Claudia. Hi, Claudia. I inspired them to start doing some YouTube videos, so they're on it now. And when they get videos up on their YouTube channel, I'll post it here. They're a really nice couple, Hispanic couple, beautiful daughter, beautiful wife. I forgot the husband's name. Sorry. Really nice guy. These were just incredibly nice human beings. They don't live far, and so hopefully they'll start doing some adventures and doing his. He's got a passion for doing the drone footage. And my advice to you is if you want to do YouTube, do it. And just put out there what you do. Whatever you're passionate about, just put it out there. You never know who you can help. You shouldn't be doing it like with the intention of, I'm going to be a YouTube star. I'm going to make money and I'm going to live off of YouTube. That's very hard to do, actually. It's very rare. And you can't go into it thinking that that's going to happen. No expectations, no disappointments. I say that all the time. So just keep that in mind. But who cares about that? Put yourself out there. Put a message out there. Show what you're doing, because if just one person watches something that you put out there and they get something positive out of it, and they pass that feeling, that vibe, that positivity on to other people in their life, you just did a great thing. The great thing about YouTube is it's real people talking about their lives, doing their thing. There's a phoniness happening. There's definitely a phoniness out there. You guys tap into that. Some of the biggest channels are the phoniest. So I get that too. A lot of people are just addicted to drama and fake stuff for whatever reason. YouTube's been pissing me off lately, to be honest with you. There's the whole thing with the clickbait really annoys me. And the AI generated voices. I'll watch like a minute. As soon as I pick up on it, I click off. Won't go back. I had a little banana bread this morning at my client's house. And it's still pretty early. It's backing up on me. So, yeah, YouTube's an interesting thing. I like the people that are similar to me, where it's no frills, not a lot of crazy editing or anything. They're just real people doing a real thing. I love those swim shop guys, for instance. I've noticed lately that some of the people I like to watch, and some of whom I recommended or whatever, I want to see them get to at least 1,000 subscribers so they can get monetized and start growing from there. And then right away, as soon as they do it, they're jumping into the full bore Patreon and everything else. Not knocking that. I mean, you want to make money with it, I understand. I still haven't done that. I don't do. As a matter of fact, I haven't collected a dime yet from YouTube. As you guys know, I still need a new computer so I could do all the browsers work, so I could figure out my stuff and get a check, you know. But I'm not here to make money. I'm here just because I feel compelled to do it and share things and talk to people, and it enriches my life in a positive way, knowing I'm making the majority of you feel good. That's what makes me feel good. That's it. Because the truth is, look, man, I live alone. I'm not married. Don't have any kids that I know about. So in a way, YouTube has been this healthy outlet for me, even just psychologically. It's not like I don't have friends in my life. Every day there's multiple phone conversations with all kinds of people. Unfortunately, almost none of them live here. All my best friends are mostly all over the country and Europe, mostly in New Jersey, East Coast, Florida. So that's a thing. I only got a couple dudes I know here that I even see or talk to pretty regularly. So that's a thing. So this video is just kind of mental health thing, little talk to those of you that are new here, so you understand why my content is all over the place. There's going to be more bike stuff coming up. There's going to be obviously more watch stuff coming up. I finally did get this Dive Master 3 from Aragon in the color that I liked. They only made it in a few colors, and this was the only one I actually kind of enjoyed. Super cheap. Picked it up when I had a couple bucks. I forgot to show you guys. Keeping this one on the bracelet. Because work, you come home in the end of the day, I could rinse it off in cool water and scrub it clean. Something just popped in my head and then just ran out again. Oh, there's going to be a thing coming up. If you're in Los Angeles or the LA area, I've got my friend Kirgy, really cool chick. She and I drove to Arizona Sunday. She drove, and we came back Monday. I did that to deliver that walnut table I made. She's got a house over in the valley, and she did this sale thing there recently for a woman that sells vintage clothes. They rented her yard to do that, and it went very well. Kirgy and I both collect really interesting stuff. We're into vintage Americana, just neat stuff, and my whole apartment's full of it, and so is her whole house. And we're realizing as we get older, we got to start unloading some of this stuff. But it's all worth money. It's not like you want to give it away. If there's an item that is worth hundreds of dollars or $1,000 or more, you don't want to sell that for $5. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up her yard. We're going to do it. I'm anticipating every 2 months or so we'll do this. And Kirky was a chef too, and man, can she cook. And so our plan is I'll advertise it here. I'll put it on Instagram. I'll share it on Facebook. We'll put her address out when the time comes. And we'll do a thing and we'll set it up. It'll be our little store, like yard sale store thing. And it'll always be cool stuff. And it might be somewhat themed at different times. Like, hey, this week we're bringing this. I might bring a bunch of bicycle stuff. I just mentioned the bicycle thing and that's what popped into my brain. So if you're looking for Schwinn crank sets or maybe some old Schwinn frames or handlebars or whatever, I'll bring that stuff over there and have it there. At the same time, Kirgy wants to do something like, maybe make, some sort of dish, gourmet hot dogs or something, so you can go there, hang out, buy some cool stuff, hang out with me and Kirgy. We're pretty entertaining people, pretty funny. Get yourself some decent food at the same time. It could be a nice way to kill a few hours on a weekend. I think it'll be fun. So, if I didn't think it was going to be fun, I wouldn't be telling you we were going to do it. We wouldn't be doing it. I think it'll be a good time. So, yeah, I think that's about it for now. So, stay tuned. For all of you that are new, that are here, thank you for being here. For everybody, keep in mind what you're doing when you're typing. Don't allow yourself to be misled on the titles and whatnot. There's not much I could do about my thumbnail. I always select that from a screenshot from the video that I shoot. And sometimes I remember to actually hold the camera steady for a moment, thinking ahead that, hey, I could screenshot that and use it. But it's just me, man. Just some old guy talking to you. Eventually, one day, I'm hoping I can get a girlfriend that looks good in a bikini or something for you guys so I can... so I can do thumbnails of some sexy gal, leaning up against the van here, and something to entice some people. Everybody else does it. So, but that's what's really behind some of the titles. Did OJ really murder those people with a question mark? Yeah, that's just to get you to watch the video. If you don't watch the video and you're commenting, you're not doing me any favors. You're not doing yourself any favors. It's just a nice conversation. that's it for now. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much for being here and investing your time. I think it's important if you can watch a video all the way through and feel like, oh, that was cool, made me feel good, whatever that is, versus you watch it even before it's over, you want to turn it off because you're like, I know this already, I've seen it 100 times, you sucked me in with this BS title, there's nothing new here, all that. The other thing I hate are those fake movie trailers. People invent these movies that are never going to get made. Rocky 8 or something. You get all excited. You're like, oh, were they really going to make that? As ridiculous as that may be, if it came out, I might want to watch it just because, right? But it's not real. It's not real. I'm real. You're real. Let's keep it real. Have a great day. Be good to one another. I'll catch you all in the next one.